What's going on, gamers? So we got a video here, and I just looked at Digital Foundry's video a little bit about their new Steam machine hardware coming out. I've took a look at the specs, I've read everything on it, and I have to say I'm disappointed. I still think this is a cool option for people who kind of want to do that, but I think for 2026, this is underwhelming. I don't think this is going to be a competitor for PlayStation at all. It doesn't have its own dedicated games. It's to me the Steam Deck version of their hardware, where it's going to be optional and an extension of what you already have on PC. So if you guys want to know about the specs, we're going to get into that in a second. Once again, though, I don't think it's bad that they're doing this, but I don't understand why we're releasing a product this week. And this price better be under $500. Otherwise, what's the point? So let's get into this. Here we go. All right. So it says announcing new Steam hardware coming in 2026. Steam controller, Steam machine, Steam frame. Watch our jazzy announcement video and wish list now. Now, if you go to the website, you kind of get the idea of this. It kind of looks like a Series X, but in a GameCube format, if you get what I mean. I've seen some people make comments, the GameCube is out. So you got your games on a big screen. Powerful PC gaming, made easy. It's small and mighty package. I like the LED aspect. I think that's cool. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing for them to have options, but I kind of feel like it's a bit years too late. If this would have been out a couple years ago with those hardware specifications, it would have been better. So it says with over 6 times the horsepower of Steam Decks, Steam Machine has the power to play your whole Steam library, including your favorite AAA games. Just sign in with your Steam account and your entire library is there. Cool. Like I said, you're just expanding out. But I was trying to do the same thing you see Microsoft is doing, PlayStation expanding out, doing that on multiple different aspects and having a handheld. You know what I mean? You kind of get the idea. And everybody's chasing the Nintendo magic. So core features we have, it's cool and quiet. You have an I/O for days, as you see right here for the peripherals. Display port, 1 gigabyte Ethernet, HDMI 2.0, USB-C, and 4 USB-A ports. Small form factor, put it on your TV. We already saw that. Steam OS, CPU and GPU. They say 4K gaming at 60, but I'm going to explain that in a second. One thing that isn't too bad is the CPU. Storage 512. I think there should have been 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte. Both come with expandable storage via micro SD, but it's not micro SD Express, which is disappointing. Connectivity, you have a 2x2 Wi-Fi 6, cool, Bluetooth 5.3 with a dedicated antenna. Steam's controller wireless adapter is built right into Steam Machine for direct pairing. No giant brick. Steam Machine's power supply is built right in. I actually think that's handy and cool. They're kind of doing what Microsoft did with the Series X. So that's cool. And then, like I said, right here, you got a little cool LED strip. I don't have a problem with that. You can actually customize it with colors and animations, or you can turn it off if you want. No, man, get cool and flashy. Definitely at night, right? I think that's cool. I don't have a problem with that. Obviously, you can make it like a PC if you want, or you can put it in the traditional home console setup. It runs the Steam OS for Proton DB, as we know. Steam Machine verified, optimized for gaming, and it's a PC as we see right here. Just going down the thing for you guys. Steam Machine plays well wherever Steam is. Made for Steam controller, great for streaming. Powered by Steam, optimized for gaming in any form. I think this is cool. The Steam hardware family officially expands in early 2026. Just like Steam Deck, all are optimized for gaming on Steam, and all are designed to help players get even more out of their Steam library. Steam Deck, Steam Controller, Steam Machine, and Steam Frame. This is the family now. Welcome to the family, sons, if you're going to be joining and getting the Steam Machine with the Steam Controller. Follow Steam hardware for more updates. You could do that, obviously. But going down, this is where things get interesting. Okay, going on the back, you see you have 2 USB 3As right here, a micro SD slot, but not express. Why? So you won't be getting the SSD loading, so be careful with that. Indicator LED, just the same. Power button, I understand in 2026 why we're doing this. Display port, HDMI, AC power connector, Ethernet, and then you have the other 2 A's over here and the C. So you have 4 A's and 1 C, which that's cool. Now, this is where things get disappointing, except for the CPU. Now, the CPU is a semi-custom AMD Zen 4 CPU, as we see right here. But it goes up to 4.8 gigahertz, 30 watts TDP. So it says up to, though. So the base clock is maybe 4, 3.8, or 7. So you can kind of figure out this is kind of similar to a PlayStation 5 almost. But one thing that's better than the PS5 and the Series X is that the CPU goes up to 4.8, but it's 6 cores. It's not 8. But it makes up for that. So I think the CPU is definitely nice, but it's not mind-blowing. If you would have said 8 cores at 4.8, we would have been talking here. But you're getting 6 cores. So they're kind of going for like a balance here. It's not anything hardcore. GPU side, though, this is where things get disappointment. Semi-custom AMD RDNA 3, not 4 with 28 Qs. So we're talking about something like trying to compete with a 4060 or maybe a 4060 laptop, somewhere around there, which is like, you know what I mean? It's like, I was kind of hoping you were gonna, be a tier up better than that. But they didn't do that. And you have 2.4 gigahertz max sustained clock. Okay, that's not too bad. 110 watts, as we see that that it's going to be doing as far as draw power is concerned. Now, RAM, you have 16 gigabytes of DDR5, which is what Series X and PlayStation are doing. But here's the disappointing part. You have an 8 gigabyte GDDR6 VRAM. Aspect going on. Why do we cheap out, Valve? Even on consoles back in 2020, you were getting 16 gigabytes of VRAM. They halved it. No. Not only is this disappointing, but this is also disappointing. Since we're talking about Western society and specs, right? Specifications. This is a letdown to me, along with this. No, sorry. No, this is fine. Actually, it's not too bad. These two are a letdown, the GPU and the RAM, as far as I'm concerned. Definitely, if this thing is going to be $500 or more, like, what are you doing? No. Please don't do that. And as we read, it has an internal power supply, AC power, 110 to 240 volts. Storage capacity, you're starting off with the NVMe 512, and then you can get up to 2 terabyte. But I think this should have been 1 terabyte. But they're trying to be efficient here and make some money. Both models include a high-speed micro SD card slot, but not express. Wi-Fi, as we saw, you in a Wi-Fi 6. Bluetooth here, and in displays, we get an aspect of here. Networking, 1 gigabyte Ethernet. 17 individual addressable RGB LEDs, which I think is cool. So you could have all types of colors going on this, which, obviously you're not going to stare at that, but I guess it's nice to have. As Sony has LEDs and all that stuff too, and on their controllers. So other than that, the desktop is a KDM Plasma, which is not really anything you need to worry about. But the thing that we even wanted to look at, I'm pretty sure people were worried about, is this and what is the price going to be? Now, if you drop this at $399, that's really good for $399, you know what I mean? Or $449 is not too bad either, considering that. But all in all, there we have it, guys. I honestly, am not against Valve doing something like this. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think for 2026 launch, definitely when you realize that the consoles may be out next for 2027 and 2028. I think Sony's 2028 late at earliest. Magnus maybe 2027 late. This thing has about only a little bit on the market, and like I said, this is optional expandability, just like the Steam Deck. You're not going to be getting your own dedicated market here with exclusives. There's no exclusives here. It's just another thing that is going to be an expanded aspect. So there's no identity. You're just expanding out on what you can already do right now. So most people are going to be like, dude, I can already do that right now. My PC's way more powerful than this. My laptop's way more powerful than this. You know what I mean? Hell, man. You know what I mean? So it's like, do I want this or not? It's going to be for like cheap entry level aspects, is the way I see it. But you don't have your own game. So I think this thing is, once again, in the Steam Deck ballpark, which like also a couple million units, maybe a little bit more than Steam Deck. And that's it. But is this going to compete with Xbox? Not Xbox. They're out the market. Is this going to compete with PlayStation or Nintendo? No, it's not going to bother them at all whatsoever. So I don't know what people are thinking if they think that was going to be the case. And I'm telling you right now, how? What are you competing with? You know what I mean? You don't have your own games. You don't drop games every year, yearly to do that. So to me, it's just an optional device. And Digital Foundry has their video up too, which is actually blowing up. They kind of give an insider look into their specifications, their impressions, and what's going on. If you go down and take a look at some of these comments, they're like the GameCube. what the how does this get dropped out of nowhere? The GameCube, right? You see what I mean? It's kind of funny stuff right here. It looks great. Can't wait to pick up a GameCube, the Valve GameCube. It's a cube that runs Steam. Now, if they announced Half-Life 3 and all that, it made it kind of like being able to get to that device. I think that type of stuff would be very cool. But not announcing no games with it just kind of makes it seem like we're doing this again. And we're seeing this now more than ever, right? Valve will be making an announcement this month, just like we drew it up. Hey, I would like to see that, right? But think about the technology and demand for that. You're going to need something powerful to max that out. So that's my thing. Announce the next Half-Life is launching with it. I know you want to. That would be cool. I would like that. Let's effing go. So there's going to be some Steam guys that, probably want to look at this, but I don't think they were getting ready to take a look at the specifications as we were seeing here. So that's pretty much what I have to say about this. All in all, I'm not hating on it, but I'm just saying, to me, it's kind of disappointing. Let me know what you guys think about this. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, y'all. Have a great day. I mean, hopefully they do announce some games. You never know though, but it's not going to be exclusive though. Later.